What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we got the announcement of the restriction list. So finally we get to talk about this fabulous thing. So without further ado, let's dive in the video, talk about everything that got hit. So across the board, I wanted to show you guys what I predicted before we even look at the list itself. I predicted Garurumon X Antibody, Black Gato, Luger, or Soul Luger going down to 1. Not as prevalent as I would say it is, but it's just good to know. Then you have Mervamon, you have a Apocalypti, needs the Cross Boy, and then trainings of some sort. These are kind of on the royal flush of what will probably see some restriction. Is it guaranteed? Who knows? Reason for Merva is because Anubis is broken. Apocalypti is broken. Black Gato is just because the Luga deck is the Luga deck in generalization spams out these two, the Black Gato way too quickly, and then all of a sudden you have these OTKing you. But it's on the low end. The deck does good, but it looks like it's not as competitively viable. Garurumon X Antibody is just way too good of an engine for purple, and it's just better. It is 10 times better than its counterpart, Greymon X Antibody. There was just reasons for this to be hit. It was more splashable. It was everything. And people are saying, oh, purple needs an engine. Well, it kind of already has multiple different engines, but we need to finally get off of the same cantrip. We are just draw, trash, trash. So you guys get a little too quick on the draw on that, and it's just time to finally bring it down. You do still have your, what is it? The engine that basically Proto-Gizmon, the Gizmon engine that is really powerful still for draw advantage. I think you're fine there. You're not going to have too much to worry about. But let's get into it. Ban and restriction card announcement. So first off, we have Bukamon. I missed this one. This was on my original list back in BT14, but this is just because straight up the condition to meet jamming is just really ridiculously easy. While your opponent has no Digimon with as many or more Digi-Evolution cards as this Digimon gains jamming. So yeah, that kind of happens. Because this card grants jamming by fulfilling an easy condition, it offers greater consistency than any other blue Digi-Egg that are more specialized for different blue playstyles. As a result, there's little reason for a blue deck to use any other card than this one. So yes, this was predicted because you were never getting off of this. There's no blue deck in its right mind you wouldn't be playing this Bukamon. So why would you not, get them off of it? Then we do have Mr. Krusty Boy himself. I think this is well deserved. If anybody else wants to say, oh, we should wait for our meta to see the results, Apocalyptimon already proved without a doubt in multiple ways, shapes, or form that this deck, once it got going, the only time it lost was when it didn't see Apocalyptimon by the time your opponent was ready to answer the dang deck. So anybody telling me otherwise, you are crazy. You need to be seeing some help here because Apocalyptimon is broken. There's no reason for this card to exist in the way it's shape or form. It should have gotten an errata to be able to restrict it just to Dark Masters. I would have said that would acceptable. Make it so that it's only restricted to Dark Masters. You know what? Fine. Make Apocalyptimon that way. The fact that you get protections through Craniumon, as they mentioned here, and then you get Magna Dramon. You have access to Volcanomon. You have access to Metallic Dramon. All these great things, or Bagramon as well. There is no question of a doubt this needed to go. The fact that it uses its on-play skill of any Mega that you are going to play in a playstyle is ridiculous. You can send cards with Dark Masters and traits. Even once, this card can be played many times easily and for a low cost depending on the number of copies, which combined with the cards such as Craniumon makes it extremely difficult to deal with. In addition, there is no cost to activating the card's trashing effect, and the number of cards trashed at the time is considerably considerable, making it difficult to deal with for decks that cannot utilize the trash, so this card limited to the number of deck types that can compete in the environment. For this reason alone, we decided to restrict this card to 1 per deck. Congratulations, Gabumon X Antibody. Crazy. I would not have hit this. This thing was fine. It wasn't too broken. I get it just because the dual protection probably is the reason here. In a Garurumon deck, this card offers both higher consistency and speed than other cards. In addition, this card inheritable effect grants a protection effect that makes it difficult for an opponent to respond from the beginning of the game. As a result, there is a little reason to use other cards because the importance of this one card is so great. For the above reason, we have decided to restrict it to 1 per deck. The problem comes down to, it was part of some purple engines. You would use this ridiculously. To be honest with you, I would have took the other 2 Gabus off to get them off the list if you're going to hit this one. Just because those purple ones, yeah, they're great engines and stuff like that, but you've already hit this card. Means there's not as many protections for it to go off of. So this is just something to think about. Okay, Garurumon X Antibody. We knew this was coming. This card alone allows altering one's hand to a great degree, and it offers great consistency that is reasonable for decks that can use it. In addition, this card can be used by not only Garurumon decks, but also decks that utilize the trash. As a result, there is little reason to use other cards because the importance of this one card is so great. For the above reason, we decided to restrict the card to 1. Yes, this card was Greymon X Antibody worthy of a hit. This card is just way too good. It is even better than, Greymon X Antibody, to be honest with you. The way it splashes in other decks, Greymon X Antibody could only dream of doing that. This card did not care. So, that's the problem comes down to, is the splashability. Okay. Holy cow, Anubismon? So this card has high board retention and control to its consistent play and removal effects. You know what? I know for a fact this card is just stupid. This card still spits out bodies like it was nothing. For the fact that it did this, boy oh boy, good hit. So it was either lose Merva or deal with Anubis long term. So this is the problem comes down to it, is that you were going to have to take out Anubis or Merva. So that, A, the board states didn't get ridiculous. So Anubis actually being the problem is true. Anubis is strictly just the issue. So, which greatly improves the consistency and speed of the deck when combined with several other existing cards. There are very few deck types that can handle this speed, and currently this card reduces the space of choosing other deck themes with similar board expansion effects, limiting the diversity of decks you can use. For the above reason, we decided to restrict this card to 1 per deck. So, I mean, Anubismon, the fact that when an effect plays one of your Digimon, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon, then if it didn't delete, draw a card. The fact that this thing with Mervamon draws plus X just because it can, if you didn't delete a level 5, or worst case, you popped basically their wide board without even working for it. That is the problem here. You know what? Anubis going down to 1 is not that big of an issue. When Digivolving main, you may trash up to 3 cards in your hand, then play a purple Digimon card from your trash with the play cost reduced by 3. For each card trashed by this effect, reduce it by 1. This thing gets out of hand pretty quickly. So this thing was just going to get more broken as time goes on. So hitting a super rare and a secret in this restriction list, no surprise here. There was just a point of the bubble bursting. There's way too strong decks, and yes, before you say, well, you let the OTK decks run. Well, again, you guys complain that we let Shine and Mirage go crazy. Yes, they go crazy once the trainings are introduced. Anubis does the same thing. The fact that trainings cause a lot of these decks to go way faster than they should is also a big issue, but that is all for this. But produced a lot of Volume 1, so this is really good to see. So greeting all tamers around the world who enjoy playing the Digimon card game. We would like to start this letter talking about the upcoming release of EX05 and BT15 in English, then explain further about the recent addition of cards to the restriction list. But we'll finally release January 19th, This popular 4 sovereigns are included as ace. The devas, which serve the 4 sovereigns, also make debut. 3 top types of box toppers, limited set 2, 3 edition pack, and Animal Crossing promotional pack, 1 of each is included. EX5 has 1 secret type that is exclusive to the English version. This features an illustration created especially by the illustrator from outside of Japan. So I can't wait to see which one it goes for. I hope it's a Galactic Bomb, but you know. Then you have Exceed Apocalyptics, will be February 16th. 20 new text cards from limited pack. Ghost LMM will. The Japanese tournaments and premium Bandai exclusives are included. Hopefully a premium Bandai makes this so we don't have to waste our time on it. But Apocalypse receives its first Digimon card. There will also be a rare low pull rate card with an alternate illustration. So, revisions to restriction charge. Due to unique circumstances this time, we would also like to directly explain the ban restriction revision announced today, December 18th, Monday. First, please note that our aim is to keep the gameplay environment healthy, facilitate a diverse competitive metagame. Regarding the decision to ban or restrict from the unreleased English version produces products EX5 and BT15, please understand we gave it a lot of consideration. We decided it was the best choice after carefully considering the degree to which it affects the tournament situation in Japan, and our goal is aiming for a healthier environment for the players worldwide. Say it with me. English does not affect the list. JP affects the list. The results always do it. It gives us the benefit. Because guess what, boys and girls? There are nightmares of decks. There are decks that are just broken. There are decks that are just dumb to deal with. And there is no way you can say you can get around it. Mirage still proves, even with its hit, it's still one of the best decks of the format. So, I don't get where you guys are coming from. Shine Greymon definitely showed a downturn with its hit to Geogray, but every other deck has been fine. The meta is actually quite healthy. Every time they've done these hits for us, our meta is extremely healthy lately for it. There are OTK decks, but they still exist. There are decks that are still really good, still playing in events, making top 16s, creating diversity. So before you say that they need to let us breathe, we get the breathing room. JP deals with this problem so much. Yes, separation of lists would be great, but let's be honest. You get a couple weeks, you get a good while with the X5, you get your national runs with it with no restrictions, no hampering. BT15, we only get it a couple weeks, and then boom, it is gone. We get right into the restriction list. So A, you get Apocalyptic Bond for at least a couple weeks. I know it's going to tank the daylights out of Apocalyptic Mom being probably like $1, but you know what? I'd rather have a healthy format, to be honest with you. I do not care sometimes where it comes down to the restriction list needs to be that potent. Let our decks breathe and let these decks play out. We are a different format to an extent. There are some decks that are just ridiculously good in a best of 3 formats, even if it doesn't even need to. You can use Jessmon as the example. Oh, it wasn't doing as much. Cross times 4 wasn't really doing anything. Yes, it did. It still sucked when you lost to that times 4 coming down at a speed that you could not answer or resolve fast enough. If your security did not have an answer to the thing, it was just going 1, 2, 3, get your face dead. That is how that played out. And anybody that says otherwise really does not understand those formats. Yes, you guys want to have separate. You want to have these different things. But cards are broken. And it's obvious. So, Bukumon restricted to 1. Garurumon X antibody restricted to 1. Gabumon X antibody restricted to 1. Buku Garurumon greatly stabilized the moment of decks that they use in, decreasing the diversity of cards used and narrowing the current state of enjoying Digimon card game, which is the element of being able to play with decks of many concepts, especially EX5, Gabumon, and Garurumon X. In addition to increasing stability, they drastically strengthen the power of the decks utilized. Yep. Anubis restricted to 1 and Apocalypse restricted to 1. Anubis can continue to utilize trash unless directly interfered with, allowing for the repeated appearance of powerful purple Digimon. See, there's a problem. you can't interact with it fast enough in some circumstances. If you weren't a dedicated speed build that got into merciful mode just to deal with the answers of this problem, you weren't doing anything to this deck. This card makes it highly effective in maintaining its effect in the battle, making it a powerful and challenging to handle card. So, very powerful card. We get that. Apocalyptic is a difficult card to counter as it can repeatedly be played at low cost when multiple types of cards with Dark Master and its traits are in trash. Moreover, if you cannot remove the first instance of a card that has been played, another Apocalyptic can easily be played, creating no way to stop consecutive trashing of cards from the deck. The total number of cards trashed from the deck must be restrained, and for a comprehensive perspective, it was necessary to limit the frequency of this card appearing. That's the problem. That deck, if was the only way you were losing with that deck majority of the time, was if they bricked and didn't see Apocalyptic Mon. There are very little decks that could outspeed it. You had to OTK it in a speed format, which it meant that only 2 decks could outspeed that deck, and that was Anubis and Metal Garurumon. You see, the problem comes down to that is when a deck is the king. There was no way you could say that Apocalyptic Mon needed time to see if it was going to be a good boy in the format. If you needed that much reinsurance, you guys need to get glasses, and I wear glasses. Since Anubis and Apocalyptic are both high rarity cards, we had many discussions about how to handle the situation. However, in the end, we considered the possibility that these two cards could be further strengthened with the inclusion of new cards with Dark Master traits in the future. This is really restricted. This was meant for Apocalyptic, not Anubis. Wording is very weird. Why do you have these both in a sentence and then blah, blah, blah? Which would lead to needing to improve the environment by designing other cards as restricted and bans. So we decided to directly restrict to only these 2 cards, which makes sense. That makes it healthy. The problem card getting hit instead of dancing around everything like we always do. We need to stop this. Most of the cards specifically as restricted cards this time are cards that utilize the trash, so there has also been an increase in decks that frequently use the trash. In addition to this above region, the complexity of movements also increased due to the need to confirm more locations. This might raise the hurdle of which of those who say, I want to try a Digimon card game and make the game seem difficult for new users. Yes, if a new player comes up against Apocalyptic Mon, I'm going to tell you this right now, they quit. There is no way in hell they don't quit. Same thing with Anubis. They come in facing Anubis, they're going to want to quit. There is no reason for them to be like, oh man, this is fun. You know, I get to play a little bit of this shenanigans, you know. Mirage is a little unfun, Shine's a little unfun. Yeah, but those 2 decks alone makes it extremely unfun. So, you know, to ensure that everyone can enjoy the card game with a peace of mind, we decided in this session to significantly restrict these card types. For this reason, we chose to revise the ban list cards and add these 5 cards. Regarding the revision, we sincerely apologize for causing concern by designing many cards as banned and restricted at once, that this decision comes before the release of those playing the English. We'd like to apologize that our development team inaccurately estimated the effect of these cards, which led to the short span between release and banning restriction. Of course, we aim to create products that will not require adjustments through ban and restrictions. Thanks for your understanding when such action is needed, necessary to provide a better environment. We hope that you also kindly understand that for cards judged to have strong impacts on the environment, there may be additional to the list of ban restriction regards the release of reprint timing. So, thank you, Digimon team. You did a good job. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know how your feelings are. I know purple getting slapped in the face twice in 2 restriction lists sucks, but it is what it is. So, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!